This is Parshas Acharei, starts off talking about, it repeats the story that actually happened in Parshas Shmini when two of the sons of Aaron, Nadav and Avihu, were killed by Hashem. Now, we're going to discuss now exactly what they did. The question is, every single time when it talks about this incident, it always throws in the reason why they died. It doesn't just say the story, it always throws in, like over here it says, B'kavasam fnei Hashem vayamusu. They tried to become close to Hashem in a way that wasn't permitted, and then they died. Parshas Bamidbar, also, same thing. They died, they brought a foreign fire. The Torah tells us the story in Parshas Shmini, a few Parshas ago, who they were, what they did, and weiter. So if the Torah feels the need to repeat the story, why does it feel the need every single time to tell us parts of the story, what they did wrong, when that's not really the purpose of the story? Just say, and they died. Why does the Torah feel the need to repeat certain aspects of the story every single time? You hear the question, Jordan?
Mm-hmm.
So the answer is as follows. Also, one more question. It says, Acharei Moshe ben Aaron, after the death of the two sons of Aaron. So if it says those words, the last word of the pasuk is extra. It says that they died, coming close to Hashem, by Yamusu, and they died. Well, okay, we just said, Acharei Moshe ben Aaron, after the death of the two sons of Aaron. So the last word by Yamusu is extra, and they died. Well, yeah, if they didn't die, then the Pasha would not be called Acharei Moshe. Obviously, it's called Acharei Moshe because they died. So why does it say again the word by Yamusu seems to be an extra word? So maybe as follows. There's a concept that tzaddikim a lot of times die not because of their own sins, but because of the sins of the generation. As the pasuk says in Isaiah, "Mifnei hara nesav tzaddik," because of bad things that are happening by a generation, the tzaddik is taken away. Nadav and Avihu were great tzaddikim. Moshe and Aaron said about them that they were greater than even themselves. So Nadav and Avihu were a high madrega. So maybe the Torah is explaining as follows. People shouldn't think that Nadav and Avihu sinned with such a terrible sin that they would deserve Misa, right? They died for doing something that seems to be small in the Torah. It seems they brought up a foreign fire, they got close to Hashem in a way that they weren't supposed to. Okay, really? Is that really what happened? Maybe they did a much bigger sin, and that's why they died. You hear the question? The Torah is trying to say that that's not the case. The reason why they died is because of the sins of the generation. But don't think for a second that they died because of any other reason. The reason that they died is because Hashem, because they were so close to Hashem by Yamusu, and that's why they died. To explain that the reason why they died is not because of anything that they did wrong themselves, but the reason why they died, why they were chosen to be the people that died, is because they were so great. And therefore they died because of not their sins, because of the sins of the generation, and that's why it repeats by Yamusu. And that also explains why the first question, why the Torah always throws in the cause of their death. The Torah is again trying to, bavarn, a little Yiddish there, trying to explain, trying to answer the question that you shouldn't think for a second that they died because of such terrible sin that would cause death. No. They only did what it says in the Torah, and don't think anything much worse. They just did a small sin. But because they were in such a high madrega, the Torah considered it a much bigger sin, and therefore they were chosen to be, their death was a kapara, was an atonement for the sins of the generation.